The Boston Bruins lose 2-0 to one of the worst teams in the NHL on home ice. After watching the first period, you would think the Bruins had control of this hockey game. You got stellar goaltending from Korpisalo, Pasternak is playing with pace and creating chances, and the first line actually looks like they're gelling. The wheels fall off in the second, though, and the lines all go into a blender again. And the power play looks lost and truly needs to be worked on. This will probably be my shortest game recap, as Game 10 for the Boston Bruins was a snooze fest, with little highlights and more lowlights. As always, though, I'm going to give you the highs and lows from the Bruins game, sprinkled in with my thoughts as well. So buckle up, Bruins fans. I'm here to give you the latest info on your beloved Boston Bruins. If you've been liking my Bruins content, please leave me a like and subscribe. If you've already done so, thank you, and let's get into it. The first period of the hockey game, the Bruins played with pace, and Joonas Korpisalo stood on his head, making huge save after huge save. The game could easily have been 3-0 very early on in the game for the Philadelphia Flyers, but Korpisalo, who hadn't played since the Bruins' win against Colorado Avalanche, looked amazing. You wouldn't even be able to tell that he hadn't been on the ice for this long, because he was locked in. He read plays, consistently in position, playing well enough for his team to win. The Flyers goalie, Ersson, was keeping his team in as well. The Bruins had some big giveaways as well in the first, but Korpisalo was there to save the day. Lindholm gets robbed at the end of the period, and we have a scoreless first period. But the Flyers had 4 high-danger chances to the Bruins 2, which, from watching the period, you wouldn't have thought that. The Bruins had 2 power plays in the first period, but didn't take one single penalty. And those 2 power plays were at the same time on a 5-on-3. The problem is the Bruins power play looked terrible and made the Flyers PK look even better than it is. The Flyers PK is ranked 8th in the league right now, and hats off to them. They kept the Bruins players to the outside and gave them no lanes to shoot in. Mind you, the Bruins spent all their power play passing the puck around and not shooting in the first place. The second period is where the wheels fall off, and the Bruins start to play very sloppy hockey. They continue to get stopped on the line and can't get into the zone without giving away the puck. All their shot selection is made from the outside, giving the Flyers ample time to get in front of it or let Ersson see it. In the first period, I could say players like David Pasternak and Elias Lindholm had their chances and their feet were moving, but in the second period, the whole team seemed to be in a standstill. And then it happens. Montgomery started changing up the lines again. I don't want to hound on Montgomery for this, but I truly think we've seen every line combination you could possibly see from this Bruins team this year so far. How are these guys supposed to build any chemistry if they're constantly playing with different people? He even split up the fourth line again, and when I see that, I know the team is playing desperate. I'm sure Montgomery can see that they're not skating and letting the Flyers get to pucks first because the ice is starting to tilt in the second, and the Flyers look like the better team. The Bruins' first line gets caught on the ice too long and makes a late line change. Patra, instead of closing on the Flyers player off the puck, does a flyby, followed by what can I only call a stick check from Geeky instead of playing the puck, and the Flyers are open in the slot, and it's 1-0. Up until this point, and after this point, Korpisalo was the best player on the ice for the Bruins. You would love for him to have this one, but he made so many amazing saves leading up to this, and having one league 5-hole, I'm just going to let him have this one. The Bruins couldn't connect 3 passes together, all period. We move on to the third, and you think the Bruins have some life in them, but the Flyers have their number and are stopping them on every zone entry. The only way the Bruins are able to enter the zone is dumping and chasing. And the issue is, they're not getting to the puck first. And when they do, for some reason, they throw it behind them and no one is there. I mentioned before that Korpisalo played fantastic, but I have to say the Bruins defense did a good job of moving the puck up and keeping the Flyers to the outside. It was the forward group for the Bruins I felt had too many giveaways and one too many flybys for my liking. Elias Lindholm, though, had a very good game, but couldn't score if his life was depending on it. He ended the night with 5 shots on goal and 3 of them being high danger chances. He was strong on the forecheck and on the back check and was great at the faceoff circle. Charlie Coyle, on the other hand, was 20% at the faceoff circle and didn't have his legs under him all night, but for some reason played just over 16 minutes in the game, yet Johnny Beecher, who'd been one of the more consistent Bruins all year, gets just over 9 minutes. And Koepke, as well, only gets 8 minutes and 52 seconds. I know I'm not an NHL coach, but what am I missing when players like Beecher and Koepke, who are skating every shift and playing the right way, sit on the bench for most of the game? You can't even blame it on the penalties, as the Bruins did a very good job of staying out of the box, but during the third period, had 2 power plays and didn't even register a shot on net during them. That can't happen, and you're not winning hockey games if the power play continues to be this bad. Matthew Poitras showed some life during the third period and punches a guy in the face, and I thought it might get the guys motivated. But I saw more of the same from the Bruins. A lot of pucks in the corners, passing to the point only to pass into traffic instead of taking a shot on net. I will say the Flyers played a very good game, but they didn't play unbeatable. The Bruins pulled their goalie with just over 2 minutes left in the third, and the Flyers get an empty net goal. And the game's over. The Bruins outshot the Flyers 23-19, but the shot selection from the Bruins all night was brutal. Zacha had a perfect slot chance tonight and shot it over the net, and it was the story of the game. The Bruins spent the night forcing plays, and it looked like they had no life in them. After the first period, they just looked dead. If I'm Monty, I'm figuring out what is wrong with my power play and asking Sweeney to sign Johnson right now. It at least gets Montgomery another player to toss into these line combinations he's been doing this year. Johnson played well for the Bruins on the power play during the preseason, and it gives them another option because cycling the puck to pass isn't working. I'm not saying Johnson will be what turns this team around, but I'm done with Geeky or Jones because they're not working in the top six. Brazeau didn't play bad, but let's be honest, he's a bottom six guy and should be playing as such. Montgomery had Brazeau out as the net front presence on PP1 tonight, but only once did the puck even hit him because the Bruins never took shots. McAvoy as the quarterback on the power play isn't working. Ty Anderson put out a stat during the game that over the last 3 years, the Bruins have scored 45 power play goals in 376 minutes with Pastrnak, McAvoy, and Marchand out there. They've scored 27 goals in 103 minutes with Pastrnak, Hampus Lindholm, and Marchand out there. So maybe, just maybe, let's try Hampus Lindholm again on PP1 and move McAvoy back to PP2. After the game, Montgomery spoke to the media and looked defeated.
Just disappointing, I guess, in a 1-0 game. You can't generate more in the third period there.
Yeah, it's not good enough.
Is it a matter of overthinking?
I don't know. It just, we're not making plays. We're not doing enough to generate high danger scoring chances. Whether that's a will to go to those areas or, not the right game plan, we're all culpable for not coming out with a victory tonight.
And look like a coach that just doesn't have any answers. I don't know what the answers are because I'm baffled right now with these Bruins team. They did not look like the team that beat Toronto this weekend. They looked lost at times and slow. But I would love to hear from you. What do you think the answer is to fix this Bruins team? Because inconsistent play has to stop, or we're going to be in for a very long season. That's a wrap on today's video. To stay up to date on all the news surrounding the Boston Bruins, please subscribe and drop me a like. If news breaks surrounding the Boston Bruins, be sure to check out the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, thank you, and I'll see you next time.